Do you see your home as an investment? Has the recent increase with the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes priced you out of the housing market due to inflation and the ever increasing mortgage rates? Well, guys, I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know if you think the real estate market is a good place to invest your money. Let me know if you think the housing market or even just real estate in general is a good way to invest and build wealth over time. Now, the American housing market, it has literally been a very, very hot topic of discussion in recent years, and for good reason. People are very eager to understand when the housing market crash may actually happen. And as housing prices continue to rise, mortgage rates fluctuate, and they're fluctuating higher and higher, and economic concerns are looming as well. Now, there's something very unusual that's happening in the housing market that's basically not a whole lot of people are talking about. In fact, I figured I'd kind of share this with you guys. And if you guys get value out of this, please share this video with someone that you know, because I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to this. And this very thing that a lot of people are essentially ignoring, it is literally reshaping our cities and it's influencing our financial markets. And it has been doing this for decades. So anyway, this phenomenon that I'm talking about, it has literally led to the lowest home affordability ever since like 1985, 1984, around that time frame, early 1980s. And I want you guys to truly attempt to grasp what I'm saying here. And in order to do that, I may have to have a little bit of a history lesson with you guys. Now, before we really get into the complexities of today's housing market, it really is essential to fully understand how our perception of housing has evolved over time. Remember when I asked you earlier in this video if you see your home as an investment? There's a really good reason why I asked you that, right? So in the years leading up to the early 1980s, housing was primarily looked at as like just basic necessity, right? You need a place to lay your head, you needed some shelter, a roof over your head, protect you from the rain, from the snow, and that's pretty much it. You know, maybe a place for your dog, for your kids, of course, right? But nothing more than that. But in those times, home requests were very simple, right? People didn't need like all sorts of amenities or anything like that. They just wanted the bare bones, your bread and butter, so to speak, right? Housing prices, they were relatively stable as well. And houses, this is the key thing here, guys. Houses were not viewed as investments or assets for wealth accumulation. That came later, and that was the game changer. Housing prices back then were relatively stable, slow and steady growth, pretty much mirrored wage increases and stock market returns. So it made homes way more affordable back then. People, they didn't expect to lose money when they bought a house. Instead, they pretty much saw it as a way to store their hard-earned money rather than multiply it. It was more of a store of value versus, most people looking at home prices or home values, real estate today as investments. Home ownership was literally just about securing a place to live, not a means of financial gain. Now, the landscape literally started to change in the 1980s. Real estate started to kind of transform, being merely like a place to live into a hot commodity for investments. And this very pivotal moment, guys, it came with the introduction of mortgage bonds, financial instruments that ultimately bundled together various people's mortgages. And these mortgage bonds, they could also be bought and sold like stocks. And this created a brand new type of investment opportunity. So whenever there's money to be made, you can imagine the sharks are kind of like smelling the blood in the water. And this development, it really led to an era where banks were more willing to lend money to anybody who was looking to buy a home. Even individuals who may not necessarily have been deemed risky borrowers were suddenly granted access to housing financing. Now, the question is why? Well, because banks could now bundle these mortgages into what were called mortgage bonds, and they could sell those things to other investors, effectively passing off any of the potential risks. Now, as we continue to explore the complexities of the housing market, it is evident that the interplay of institutional investors, corporate landlords, and a housing shortage has created a very challenging environment for everyday Americans. The American dream, traditionally, associated with home ownership, a white picket fence, it is ever evolving. Now, for many people, owning a home is increasingly out of reach. Let me know if home ownership is been out of reach for you in recent times. But here's a twist, guys. Despite these housing market challenges, you know, now actually may actually be one of the best times to consider an alternative path to financial security. And while homeownership could be looked at as an investment, starting a home-based business or exploring work-from-home job opportunities may actually be the best move. And in the midst of the housing market turmoil, a silver lining has emerged, right? So with the rise of remote work and the gig economy, it has literally created a very unprecedented opportunity for people just like me and you to take full control over our financial futures. And so here's why now is really the ideal time to explore home-based business ventures in order to secure your financial future. And you may actually do it through remote work. Now, one of the biggest benefits is like flexibility. Like working from home offers the flexibility to set your own hours, to create a work-life balance that suits your needs for you and your family. It creates diverse opportunities. And this whole digital age has literally opened up countless opportunities from e-commerce and freelancing to online consulting, affiliate marketing. Can you imagine no longer having to drive to work, wasting an hour sitting in traffic, trying to stay awake, only to, get micromanaged by your boss once you get into the office? Then you turn around, sit in another hour of traffic, driving home, trying to stay awake. Hopefully you don't get into an accident. Hopefully traffic's not too bad, only to get back home to be dog tired, no energy to really spend time with your family. Maybe you have enough energy to pop some food in the microwave and watch a little TV before going to bed and doing this all over again, right? Well, guys, it doesn't have to be this way. And many home-based businesses, they require minimal startup capital, making them very accessible to a wide range of individuals, right? And of course, companies worldwide, they're increasingly offering remote work positions, providing job seekers with access to a broader job market. So guys, one of the greatest benefits of homeowner or business ownership or being an entrepreneur, literally starting your own business allows you to be your own boss. You could build a brand or a service that aligns with your own passions and your values. And I love coaching people into converting their passions into profits. And so, while the American housing market definitely presents a lot of challenges and obstacles to aspiring homeowners, it is definitely essential to recognize the evolving landscape and to explore alternative avenues for financial stability. Starting a home-based business or even securing remote work can empower you and your family to be able to take full control over your financial security, over your financial future, and to achieve the American dream on your terms. And the time to explore these opportunities is now. So if you want to explore, if you want to start your home-based business, or if you want to find your dream work from home job, make sure to click the links in the description down below this video. Now, if we fast forward to 2008, the 2008 financial crisis, which turned out to be a huge turning point for the housing market and Wall Street's involvement, Wall Street's unchecked greed has literally just previously led to an economic meltdown. And we know that, right? This caused housing prices to plummet, pushing millions of people to end up selling their homes. Now, this mass selling, it literally created a situation where the supply of houses dramatically outstripped the demand. And as a result, an oversupply of houses hit the market, and it caused the prices to just nosedive. So this was a classic case of supply and demand working against each other, right? And as millions of people unloaded their homes, the increased supply led to falling home prices. And as prices dropped, more people tried to sell. It just made this vicious cycle of declining values. This resulted in almost 5 million foreclosures from 2007 to 2011. But this crisis, it was more than just a financial disaster. It was worse than that. It was a blueprint for how Wall Street would ultimately shape the housing market in the years to come. And two very essential elements emerged from this crisis. So the first one, the U.S. government was compelled to intervene to mitigate the economic damage that was caused. That was the first thing. But the second thing was institutional investors, hedge funds, banks, private equity firms, they saw an opportunity. So this crisis created an opportunity. Was it planned? Hey, now the U.S. government, they sought a solution to halt the economic hemorrhaging that was taking place, caused by millions of foreclosures, job losses, a struggling economy. And in 2012, the government rolled out a program that essentially handed over foreclosed homes to institutional investors. Now, one of the major players invited to the party was Wall Street. Wall Street had never invested in real estate before. And they entered specifically through the purchase of foreclosed homes from none other than Fannie Mae. Now, Wall Street, they ended up seeing this as basically like a golden opportunity to get into the real estate game. And they organized themselves and they formed what we now know as real estate investment trusts, or REITs, which allowed them to be able to pull massive amounts of money together, massive amounts of capital from various sources. Now, with this newfound financial power, they embarked on a buying spree, and basically millions of dollars, money from left and right, literally flowed in from all corners of the world as institutions with billions of dollars at their disposal. They sought to capitalize on this phenomenal investment opportunity. Now, initially, Wall Street presented a noble plan. They would buy these homes, rent them out temporarily, and then sell them back to the original occupants once the economy got better. Now, it sounded like a win-win scenario. Rather noble. However, as the economy started showing signs of recovery, Wall Street had a little change of heart. A little bit of greed kicked in, and they realized that they could make way more money by just keeping the houses and renting them out indefinitely. Now, you might be wondering, are corporate landlords really that bad? I mean, after all, they claim to offer more of a professional rental experience, right? They streamline the process. They provide high-tech solutions like apps for keyless entry. They claim to be the future of property management. So there's got to be more to the story, right? Well, of course, there's always more to the story, right? So these corporations, they're profit-driven entities, and their primary goal is to deliver returns to their shareholders. And as a result, their practices, they're not necessarily always tenant-friendly, so to speak, right? So just a few of the examples of the downsides of dealing with some corporate landlords. There's fees for everything. Corporate landlords, they might charge tenants fees for various services, from processing rent payments to maintenance requests. And these fees can add up very quickly, putting additional financial strain on the tenant. Then you got the cost-cutting maintenances, right? Some corporate landlords might try to skimp on property maintenance to try to maximize their profit, leaving certain things broken for longer than they should, that kind of thing. And this can lead to delayed repairs, neglected landscaping, subpar living conditions. The list goes on and on. Then, of course, you got rent increases, right? Everybody hates rent increases, except the corporate landlords. And they increase rents regularly, often at a pace that outstrips inflation and wage growth. Now, this could make it very challenging for tenants to budget and to be able to plan their futures. Let's not forget about the tenant clawbacks, right? Now, some corporate landlords, they engage in practices like withholding security deposits or imposing fees after move outs, further affecting tenants' finances. Now, to put this into perspective, guys, consider the case of American Homes for Rent, right? Now, this is one of Wall Street's, this is one of the largest Wall Street landlords. Between 2014 and 2018, they aggressively charged tenants back for various expenses. This ultimately ended up leading to a mind-boggling 1,000% increase in corporate earnings. So, during this whole time period, their property holdings only grew by like 70%. Meanwhile, rents in the top 30 markets in the country increased by like 60%. Actually, it was more like 6%. But this ultimately demonstrated a very clear misalignment between corporate profits and tenant affordability. So you might be wondering right now, is this corporate takeover the root cause of all of our housing problems? Or like, because it certainly sounds like it, doesn't it, right? Now, while corporate landlords are undoubtedly contributing to housing affordability issues and problems, there's another very significant factor at play. And this is the housing shortage, guys. Now, according to Freddie Mac, the U.S. is currently facing a shortage of a little less than like 4 million homes. And this supply-demand imbalance, it is a significant driver of rising home prices. And, as long as the supply remains constrained, Wall Street and institutional investors, they will continue to view housing as a profitable investment, further inflating home prices. So for those people who are expecting a housing market crash, I just don't see it happening, right? And of course, the housing shortage is compounded by two very critical factors: zoning regulations and single-family zoning. Now, a lot of American cities reserve around 75% of their residential land for single-family homes. Single-family zoning is deeply entrenched. It's favored by homeowners and local governments who fear that denser housing options might negatively impact property values. That not in my backyard mindset has literally led to restrictive zoning regulations that typically prevents the construction of multifamily housing, and it limits affordable housing options. So while a lot of single family resident or single family homeowners don't necessarily want apartment buildings and apartment complexes being built near where they live. So anyway, home builders are struggling, and there's supply chain issues as well, right? That's the second problem that's affecting the home shortages situation, right? There's a shortage of housing inventory. And even when developers want to build more homes, they face significant challenges as well. You got the housing industry experiencing a significant downturn back during the 2008 recession, which ended up leading to a very sharp decline in the number of home builders. They just got wiped out. And so while the industry has since recovered today, it's now grappling with supply chain issues, including soaring costs for building materials, labor, and the situation just makes it even more challenging to construct affordable homes. So, if you've been concerned about the state of the housing market, or you're feeling a little bit disheartened by the prospect of home ownership, I want you guys to remember that there's more than one path to financial security. Exploring home-based business opportunities or remote work options that align with your interests and your skills. This is one path to that. And I actually have multiple YouTube channels. Some of them are faceless. And running a home-based business, creating a YouTube business has literally changed my life. So if you are interested in starting a YouTube business, or if you just like to be able to land a work from home job, I'm going to leave some helpful links for you guys in the description down below, because these are some incredible opportunities that have literally changed my life, and not just mine. There are countless other people who have literally been able to take full advantage of some of these amazing opportunities. So anyway, we're in the digital age, guys. Consider home-based business opportunities or remote work options that align with your own personal interests and your own skills, right? The digital age, it has literally made it easier than ever to take charge of your own financial future. So don't wait. Seize this opportunity today. I'll leave some links for you guys in the description down below so that you can start your YouTube business, or so that you can land a work from home job today. I'll catch you guys on the next one, and you guys be safe.